had the opportunity when I was 19 years old to join a startup. And basically, I joined this startup when there's three of us around a table. There's no bank account. There's no business name. It's just we're going to be starting a startup. This guy who's 37 years old, who's previously had businesses, he's going to be launching something. And I'm 19 and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm joining something because I just dropped out of university. And it was really exciting. And it was like, oh, wow, okay, what's going to happen? And then over the next 2 years, it really took off fast. So we went from, 0 to, I think, 6 million in 2 years. We went to 60 people. So from a beachside location to 60 people inner city Melbourne offices.
Wow.
So it was
what
really...
was the startup? What did it do?
So it was a marketing agency.
Okay.
And it was very much focused on event marketing. And
Event marketing.
Yeah. So, well, what
like when Tony Robbins puts on an event, he hires a marketing agency to get people to go.
Filling events, yeah, bums
Okay.
on seats, yeah,
Right.
and partnering with different people and brands to fill their events, Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne. So that was this exciting first start I had to being in business, and I had this amazing relationship with the founder, John, where I was always under his wing and learning, and he would recommend books and he'd recommend these crazy challenges for me to complete. So I had to keep a journal. I had to stop watching news. No news. I had to carry $1,000 in my pocket. There was all these kind of weird things that he got me to do over the period of building that business. And then 2 years in, I go to John and I say, I would really like some shares in the business because I was here at the beginning and I've set up this subdivision, this regional division, and, I'm doing all the right things. And I caught him at the wrong time. I remember it vividly. He was loading boxes into the back of his car and I'm asking him about shares in the business. And he says, Dan, if you want shares in a business, go start your own. So I did. At 21 years old, I went and started my own company. I replicated everything I'd learned from John, and I basically copied the business model I knew. It was the only thing I knew. I went and launched my own business, and it took off, and it went really fast growth.
So you launched your own marketing agency?
Yeah, event marketing. And basically, the whole business model was lead generation for companies that want lead generation and introduction events.
What is lead generation for the unfamiliar?
Yeah, so lead generation is where you get someone to signal that they're interested in doing business with you, right? So if you think about it like a financial planner, they could try and sell financial planning and like literally say, here's how much it is. Or they could say, take an online scorecard and fill that in, and then that's a signal of interest, and that person is a lead. And another way to generate a lead is through an event. So you could put on a weekly event called an introduction to financial planning or an introduction to building wealth for retirement. So that is what I talk about in the book as a product for prospects or a lead generation product. And so my first business was all about creating these introduction events. And what we'd do is we'd partner with established businesses, and they were rightly focused on their core business, but they didn't really have a lot of time for focusing on lead generation. So we would do these introduction events, an introduction to, whatever it was, introduction to blank. And we'd run these weekly events up and down Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne.
Like in real life?
Yeah, in real life.
Okay.
Back before Zoom.
Yeah.
Back before YouTube.
Real life events.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Like this was before MySpace.
Yeah.
So we're going way back. So we would just have these live events running. In 2005, sorry. We would get paid sometimes per lead that we would generate. Sometimes we'd get paid per sale that would come through. The difference is that most agencies love to do fee for service. Pay me 10 grand and then pay me this per week, retainers and all that. What I did, which I'd learned from John, was a risk to reward deal. So I would actually take the risk on running these introduction events, and I would profit share or revenue share with the companies. So my very first day launching my business was a newspaper ad that was, I think, $7,000 for a quarter-page ad. I put it on my credit card. I had no way of paying for that other than if leads came in and we made sales. So that was the launch of my business on a credit card, taking out a quarter-page ad. So really scary kind of stuff.
How did you have the conviction to do that? That, like, even I wouldn't do that. And I think I'm a fairly risk-taking kind of guy.
Well, it didn't feel super risky because I'd been doing it nonstop for 2 years with John. And I had actually just before leaving his business, I'd set up a regional events marketing business. So they were doing Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne. And I started with Tasmania and a place called Geelong and Bendigo and Ballarat and all these kind of weird places that are a few hours drive out of a major city. And I had basically been placing ads in their newspapers and running introduction presentations, introduction events. And I'd been through the motions nonstop for 2 years. So for me,
you were pretty seasoned at the thing.
I felt like, I was going through motions that were familiar, but oh my goodness, it felt different at the time when you're putting money on your own credit card versus the boss's credit card.